So I am always insulting the Christian religion, and I'm often having a dig at Islam, but trying to be respectful at the same time. But yeah, um, I have not really touched on the Jewish community, and I've come across another video, Rabbi Uriel Viger. I don't know who he is, but I've come across one of his videos last week, and I think I talked about him. But I'm just going to analyze his videos, just because I have um, I analyze Christians and insult Christians and Muslims all the time, so it kind of makes sense. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, one sec.
We're living in an era right before the coming of Mashiach. That means that period in time in history, which our sages describe as the Messianic era, the climax of creation, is unfolding and about to happen. There's going to be a human being living amongst us that is going to declare himself the son of David, Mashiach, and he's going to usher in an era of world peace. How do I know it's going to happen right now? Because look at the world.
Okay, but first of all, I don't actually know who the Jewish Messiah is. I am not Jewish, and I'm not Islamic. I guess I have claim to a Christian because Christianity, because I'm from a Christian background, even though I never believed in Christianity. Not basically left Christianity when I was like 6 because it didn't make sense to me. But yeah, I'm not claiming to be the son of David. My uncle is David, and he's got bipolar. So yeah, I think if this claim to the David, I don't know who the Jewish Messiah is. Messiah means messenger, a messenger sent from God. I am not a messenger, I am God. But yeah, anyway, I'll just analyze it. Some things the Jewish people say when it comes to their Messiah links to me. So that's why I would say I'm their Jewish Messiah, just because sometimes they say things that I'm like, that links to me, and sometimes they say things that don't link to me at all.
Around us. Look how bad it is. Israel sought to defend itself. October 7.
So I'm Israel, and I'm alone all the time, and I have to defend myself all the time because I am God and no one believes me. So he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth in the sense that Israel is always defending himself. Israel is always in trouble because no one is on my side, no one is helping me. And a lot of people think that Israel is a nation in the Middle East, because it is, because the people, whoever it was, set up this land saying it's Israel's, when really it was occupied by Muslims, and they didn't want to give up their land, but I guess because they lost the war they kind of had to. But there was quite a lot left of them, and I think they all settled in Gaza area or in the West Bank area, and these have been disputed lands ever since. And I'm happy for, I don't care if you name it Palestine, whatever goes on in the Middle East, it's kind of got nothing to do with me. Do I think there should be a Palestinian nation? Yeah, I think they should. I think it should have happened a long time ago. I feel like it does represent Islam and Muhammad, and I don't agree. I'm not on that side. But I feel like the world has been split in two. You know, I didn't want it to be split in two, but it has been split in two. Why? Because I think there's two spirits. You've got my spirit, and then the spirit of inversion. And okay, but there's a ton of people in the middle who are sometimes inverted and sometimes on my side, on my side of the spirit, or seeing things in a similar kind of way, but other times they invert it, hence like seeing Christ as being only a male. This is an inverted spirit. So some of it is inverted, some of it is uninverted, but there's a lot of people that can't tell the difference. And yeah, I think there should be. I think there should be two states. I mean, I do think that Islam is going to suffer when I expose myself as being God, because I'm literally everything that they're not. And they might. I don't think they'll want to continue calling themselves Muslim as soon as they believe, because I believe that Muslim means against my will, not for my will. And I don't think Islam means peace. I think it kind of means the opposite of peace, because you can't have two hamsters going the opposite side of a hamster wheel, and therefore you can't have two people. Although inversion sometimes helps, it's good to have different perspectives, masculine and feminine. In a way, you can say that some of them are inverted of each other, because males sometimes see things differently to females, and so therefore it is good to have some inversion, but yeah, not an inverted spirit, which is, Christian. Well, my religion versus Islam are two completely inverted spirits and completely inverted ideologies and stuff. And yeah, should the world be divided? Yeah, I think it should, because I want to know who's on my side and who's on the inverted side. But yeah, I don't like the joining. The Christian nations should be Christian nations and Islamic nations should be Islamic nations, because the ideologies shouldn't really mix, because it causes too many clashes. That's one of the problems. But anyway.
1,200 of our citizens were brutally murdered. And you look at the world around us, and the world supports Hamas. The world supports those people who slaughtered us.
I'm trying to stop this,
Can you imagine if any other country,
my computer's not very good. It's got a very slow motor and it's not working.
To invade another country.
Okay, you stopped? Alright. So yeah, yeah, there was a massacre, but Israel has been bombing them all the time.
Citizens. Can you imagine?
This is a very silly computer. The buttons don't work, and then you end up pressing it twice, and then it suddenly starts working again. It pauses, and then it's because you press it twice, it fixes it. Anyway, this is a boring video. I'm losing energy for it, to be honest. But there's a massacre on both sides. Let's just say that. I'm not on his side when it comes to this.
Mexico did this to America. Took Americans and put them in the Mexican tunnels and kept them hostage. Mexico would cease to exist.
When English people went over to America to fight the Aboriginals or whatever, there was a lot of fighting, and even after they'd been captured, there was more fighting and more fighting and more fighting and more fighting. So I don't know what you're talking about. Israel did not exist it did exist 1,000 years ago, but it lost its land to the Islamic people. And sorry if you don't believe that, but this is the truth. It has lost its land, and after the Second World War, it gained its land. Why? Because the world is Christian, and they wanted to see this land of Israel be formed again, so they formed it. But the people on the land didn't agree, and I guess they're still fighting for it, and they've kind of given up on it. But they've still managed to keep hold of Gaza, because their people were majority there and stuff. So I don't have any problems with that being a state. I think all Islamic states are going to have a bit of a big problem soon, because they're going to realize that it doesn't mean that they're on God's side. But I don't know. If you want to make them happy by giving them state, do what's best. I don't have opinions in war.
And yet the world, a lot of the world, not all the world, sides with Hamas, with the terrorists. It's preposterous. And this...
all the world sides. I think most people admit that there's war and fighting and wrong on both sides.
Is a sign of the imminent coming of Mashiach. Let me explain.
Why does it Mashiach? It's like you're choking. I hate this sound. They say, I've heard some Jewish people say that this is a sound that God likes. Do you know what it sounds to me? It sounds like you're being sick or something, like you got something stuck in your throat.
In this week's Torah portion, we read about leprosy. Tazria Mitzorah, about leprosy. That means if somebody spoke Lashon Hara, slander, he would get a nega, which is like this white patch. It's like leprosy on his, first it would happen on his body, on his hand.
If someone spoke, they get leprosy for saying something bad. That's not how leprosy works. It's a disease, and it's got nothing to do with what you say.
On his clothing, there would be stages in it. Now here's the thing. If a person would have leprosy on his hand, the Kohen, the priest would come and say, this is leprosy, and he would be banished from the camp for 7 days. He'd have to go to the mikveh, he'd have to purify himself, there'd be a whole process.
Do you really believe that having some sort of blessing on you is going to get rid of leprosy? It's a disease that needs medication or something. I don't know what I've never had it before, but it's an illness. It's not, prayer isn't going to fix it. I think you don't believe the right things if you think that prayer.
But here's what the Torah says: if he has leprosy on his entire body from head to toe, in other words, everything is white, then he is pure.
Are you kidding me? You really believe that? If you have leprosy from head to toe, then you're pure. I mean, I could say that that's just gibberish, but to me it doesn't sound like gibberish. It sounds like nonsense. That is nonsense. And if you're trying to sit there and pose as if you're intelligent while saying that your Torah says that if you have leprosy from head to toe, you're pure. I mean, do you not know how ridiculous that sounds?
Now think about that for a second. It makes no sense. You imagine
It doesn't
a
make
doctor
no
sees
sense.
somebody who has, let's say, a bit of a rash on his arm. So he gives him cream. But then if the rash is spread out, same rash, from his head to his toe, the doctor says, oh, you don't need anything, you're healthy. It doesn't make sense. If you have a little bit of white patch, leprosy on your hand, or on your body, on your leg, on your stomach, anywhere, so then surely if you have it on your whole body, you are even more impure, and you should even be more banished outside the camp and spend your time there. How does it make sense? And
Tell
it's
me.
here
Tell me.
that we come to an incredible teaching, an incredible lesson.
Really?
You see, if
Really?
the whole body has leprosy,
You're dead.
kulo hafach lavan, it's all white, he is pure. The Talmud says, Ein bein David ba, the son of David will not come ad shetitmale ha'olam kulo minut, until all the malchut, until all the kingdoms are filled with heresy. As it says in the verse, kulo hafach lavan tahoru, if he's entirely covered in white, he is pure. What this means spiritually is the following. You see, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the problem with the evil inclination is sometimes it confuses us. We don't know what's right and what's wrong.
I don't
don't
think you
know.
know what's right and what's wrong because you think that you're clean if you have leprosy all over you. No, I think what it is that the world will be falling apart into such a state of arguing and fighting and people disagreeing with each other and saying I'm right and you're wrong, I'm better than you, or this belief is better. There'll be so much full of chaos and everyone will be so like destroyed with poverty or just miserable over rents and stuff like this that the world's going to need a saviour. I think that's all it's saying. It's just saying that the world's going to be in a terrible state when Christ comes, and I'm seeing the world and I'm just really pissed off at how it is, and I'm really annoyed at how I probably couldn't talk to you and tell you that I was the Messiah, because you'll just be like, oh no, the Messiah is the son of David. What's your father's name? You know, is your father called David? Well, if that's not... Like, to say that I can't be God because my father's not called David, I just think that's crazy. I have a David, that's my uncle, and I'm visiting him next week, but he's bipolar, and you look bipolar because you're believing that you are clean or cleansed if you're full of leprosy. I mean, that's the sort of thing that someone with bipolar would believe. Do you know that?
What is a mitzvah, a good deed, and what is a sin? There's confusion happening. We don't know if somebody is our friend or somebody who is our enemy. Sometimes the worst kind of person...
I would like to have a meeting with you, and I would like to tell you that I'm God, and I guess I could ask that question. Do you think I'm good or bad? And I don't even think that you would think that I'm a good person. I don't think. I think you would say that. I don't know. I don't want to put words into your mouth. I don't know many Jewish people, but I would like to have an interview with you and ask you what you think of me being the Messiah, well, God. I would actually say God in human form. I'd make it very clear that I think I'm God. I'm not just a messenger of God, but technically God is actually just the voice in my head who is my higher self, because I don't have her memory. So maybe in that sense I'm a messenger of my higher self. But yeah, I can't always hear, like, I don't know, I can't see or don't know everything that she knows. I don't know who you, like your past and anything. I don't know your name, and even though I can see it down there, Ariel or something. I mean, that sounds like Ariel, but that's like the Little Mermaid. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. That's just it. Why am I feeling tired?
Is somebody who acts like my friend, but then stabs me in the back. But when the entire world is full of heresy, when the entire world,
that's what I'd like to know.
It's made clear.
If I told you, because you're making. Sorry, this video is not playing. This video, you're making out that you are searching for Messiah, that you care about the Messiah, you are longing for the Messiah. I'm this chosen person from my higher self who is me, and so I'm not chosen, but I'm this person, and yeah, I just feel like you might stab me in the back if I told you, because I think you won't believe. But I don't know. I don't want to put thoughts. I don't want to prejudge you.
Alongside, this allows me the ability to choose and to see clearly this is right and this is wrong.
Well, I'm confused. You said you can
to choose and to see clearly. When the entire world, it's made clear that it's on the wrong side, this allows me the ability to choose and to see clearly this is right and this is wrong.
But how do you know that you'll be one of the ones who can see clearly? You know, right now there is a lot of terrible things, and right now you solely believe that the Jewish people are right and everyone else is wrong, and that's not how I see it. I see it as, you know, you can't just judge people because of their birth, what family they were born into, what religion what religion you're born into might have something to do with what you were like in your past. So maybe you chose it in your past life. But yeah, I just you can't automatically assume that you can see what right from wrong just because there's so much wrong everywhere. In fact, if there's so much wrong everywhere, if there's, you know, tons of people believing in aliens from another space, in outer space, or that they've come to Earth, or they believe in the Anunnaki are talking to people, you know, if there's so many lies going on, it actually makes it harder to be able to tell the difference between truth and lies. So for you to think that there's so much evil in the world that it makes it easier for me to tell the difference. No, it makes it easier for me to tell the difference. Why? Because I know that I'm God, and I know that when I reveal this news to the world, I'm going to be able to tell the difference between who has the Spirit of God and who doesn't have the Spirit of God, because the people who have the Spirit of God are the ones who can connect to what I believe and believe in what I believe, and the people who can't connect to the Spirit of God, well, they're just going to see me as a liar who's deceived and not on my side. But actually, I don't know. I feel like you might be. I feel like I might be able to convince him that I'm on my side. I don't know. I really don't know. I can't tell. But I will be able to tell if I spoke to him.
Is filled with lies. When the whole world sides with Hamas, with terrorists. So it makes my choice very clear. I'm able to...
No, because Hamas is not just a group of terrorists. You know, I'm sure there's loads of people in this group, and some are very bad, and maybe some are not as bad, or maybe some just want revenge over something bad that's happened to them. It's complicated. I think you should never just assume that every group of people are all the same, unless they all have very similar beliefs. And I don't actually know anything about Hamas or what they're doing or what's true, and I don't know if is every Hamas person an Islamic person. I don't even know that, so I can't say anything, so I haven't done enough research. But yeah, you shouldn't judge. You shouldn't even think that you can tell the difference from right and wrong just because there's so much wrong in the world, because maybe you are just seeing everything as being wrong when really some of the things that you think are wrong are actually right. You just can't tell the difference yourself.
To discern what is good, what is evil. I'm able to see, oh my God, they are so wrong. Oh my God, how could anybody know?
Oh my God, you're so wrong. Oh my God, you're so wrong.
Support and protest on behalf of Hamas. Just this week, last few days, there were protesters coming into Crown Heights, into Chabad headquarters, 770 Eastern Parkway, and protesting, supporting Hamas.
I can't make any comments on this because I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what's true. I don't know what stories to believe. I've heard that they're doing terrible things, but I would also say and argue that bombing schools and hospitals is a terrible thing, and that Israel are doing that too. So I'm saying that I don't know what's going on.
This is insane. It's preposterous. But what happens is this also allows me the ability to be able to discern between good and evil.
No, you've just said Hamas bad, Jewish good. That's all you've said. You are not picking up on the individuals. You are not picking up on the true stories and on the victims or on the reasons why people would go for war. And the spiritual reason why people are going for war is because there are way too many people on earth, and the spirit is trying to lower numbers. Now, if you knew that, then you would realize that actually even your enemies are on your side. Why? Because if the world is dying because of overpopulation, and if your enemies are killing, okay, they might be killing your side or whatever, but if they're just getting rid of people to lower the numbers, which are actually helping the survivors, then it's a complicated thing, and I wish it wasn't this bad. I wish people wouldn't have had as many kids as they keep having. That's what I wish, but anyway.
And this is why this is like a sign, a clear sign of the imminent coming of Mashiach. We know that Elijah the prophet is about to blow the shofar 3 days before the coming of Mashiach. Mashiach is going to come. There's going to be a cure for any kind of diseases. There's going to be no more wars. There's going to be peace in the world. People will live forever.
I do think there'll be a time where there'll be no more war. But that will be a time when people realize that I'm God and war is not something that I want, but right now it kind of is, because no one is on my side and no one seems to be helping me or supporting me or talking to me or giving me any funding. You know, I'd love to have a bit more money because I'm actually really low. I'm low on money, and it's not that. It's just that I feel trapped because I don't have any money, and it feels like the world is just completely rejecting me and doesn't want me to be happy or have a good life or anything. And it's been like this for a very, very long time, and it's making me feel depressed.
The world will be filled with the knowledge of God. Wherever you walk, you will be able to see God of the universe.
No, you will not be able to see me everywhere. You will be able to if there's like pictures of me everywhere, or if you watch films, or if so there is truth to that. You'll watch films, you'll hear music, and the singers will link to me, and you know, I talk through music, and I talk through songs, and I talk through films. So you will see me everywhere, but not literally everywhere.
Is true, is eternal, is real. The story is told about a chassid, a student of the Alter Rebbe. His name was Shmuel Munkus, and he was a bit of a jester, joker, but like a good chassid, a good guy. And one time the chassidim was sitting, having what's called the farbrengen. Farbrengen means you sit together and you listen to words of Torah, and you sing an inspiring song, and you also eat a little bit while this is going on. So at some point, somebody brought, the local shoichet, the local slaughterer, brought roasted lung. It was like considered a big delicacy. Wow, it was so tasty. And Shmuel Munkus had this in his hand, and he's like dancing around with his roasted lung, and everybody's running, "Oh, give us the roasted lung. We want to be able to eat it so that we could learn more Torah and hear more words of Torah and sing more songs and get inspired in the ways of God."
I'm wondering if the people who wrote the Hebrew language were pigs, because they keep going this like snorting sound. It just sounds like a pig or something. Because they don't eat pigs, do they? So I'm wondering if the people who made the Hebrew language and the Torah were, you know, living their first or second life and were pigs in their previous life, and that's why they've added that into their religion.
And he kept on dancing around with it, and he wouldn't give it. And some of the younger guys were like getting impatient, "Give it to us!" So they started like, you know, cornering him, basically. He was already on the table. They started cornering him. And as soon as he realized that they're going to grab this roasted lung away from him, he went and he put it in the garbage, like threw it in the garbage, like in a pail of water. That's it. Nobody's going to eat it anymore. And the Hasidim were very upset. Very upset. About 10 minutes later, the local shochet, the slaughterer, came running.
I can't even
and he
speak
said,
like
oh my God, the roasted lung that I gave you is not kosher, it's treif. Somehow it got mixed into another thing and it's not kosher. I hope you guys didn't eat it. And suddenly everybody turns to Reb Shmuel and they said, wow, are you a prophet?
I'm not
How
actually
did you
listening
know
to this.
that
I
it
can't
wasn't
listen to
kosher?
this.
What happened? So he said, I'll tell you the truth. I felt such a strong desire for this roasted lung that I knew something was off.
Okay, I don't know if I should even bother watching this. I'm listening to it and I can't hear anything. Something about a roast dinner, someone getting excited over a roast dinner. I don't know, but I'm now thinking of pigs and how hungry it would be to have how hungry I am to have a nice pig. Anyway, I'm going to stop this.